How's it going, everybody, and welcome to this GameXplain discussion, because today is a very special day. We had the GameCube anniversary yesterday, the 20th anniversary, but today we are celebrating another Nintendo anniversary, and that is the Wii's 15th anniversary. How, it's weird, because you look at the age of a game console and think, I'm so old, but if a person was 15 years old, you'd think, oh, you're just a baby. Very weird how we judge those two things. Anyway, I'm joined by Tom and a special guest today, Alan. How's it going, Alan?
Doing good, buddy. Thanks for having me back. I love being around here.
Of course, yes. We would have had Andre on, but he's too busy live streaming GameCube games. So, yeah, as you can tell, we didn't record this actually on the 15th anniversary of the Wii, but, we're not that quick. So, we got to do things a day ahead of time. But the Wii, such an interesting console. I think, Alan, you and I were a bit too young to really remember, the launch of the Wii. But Tom, since you were there for the GameCube's launch and reveal, were you also there for what was then called the Revolution?
At that time, I think I didn't go to E3 that year, but, I was there around launch and stuff. And at first it didn't seem as exciting, because it's like, what's this motion controller stuff? But later on, I was spoiled with GameCube, really, because you can get any game you want there. But with Wii, it's like things sold out, and you couldn't necessarily get it. It's like, what is this? I wasn't used to it, so it was definitely a lot more popular, as we all know. Getting Wii Fit, that was next to impossible.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Bodies were not ready for how many units that thing would sell, but in general, I remember I found out about the Wii randomly. I think I was looking at, I don't know if I was on a website or something, but I remember I was massively in love with Sonic back then. I just loved playing Sonic games, and I came across a thing saying Sonic is making his way to Wii, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? What's a Wii? I just saw a picture of Sonic holding a Wii remote, and I'm like, what is this funky thing? And then I found out later is Nintendo's next console. Used to be called the Revolution, but they changed the name to Wii. A lot of people didn't really think that name was very cool. Kind of not. But I actually think that really worked out in the Wii's favor, because it's everybody knows what a Wii is now. So there you go. Yeah. Just a simple name, and it means we are going to play together, kind of those things with the ads we would like to play.
Oh,
yeah.
God tier commercial.
It's so good. The music, just everything about the Wii's music was just great. From the commercials, from the Mii channel, Wii Shop Channel, even the Wii menu. It was just all kinds of great music there. Nowadays, we don't really have music in UIs. I think PlayStation's the only one that has some kind of soundtrack. I don't even know I'm trying to remember if the PS5 even has music in its dashboard. But anyway, back to the Wii. I remember picking up a Wii. I didn't pick up a Wii, actually. Kids, if you question whether your parents love you or not, you have to ask yourself, did they go to the effort to try getting you a Wii for Christmas in 2006 or 2007? Because if they did, however much you think they love you, they love you 10 times more than that. That's what
Joey, I believe that's the sequel to Jingle All the Way right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
This Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
I kid you not, I was watching that movie last night. But anyway, so my mom and stepdad went out to get me a Wii when it came out, and they told me the story of how it happened. They were in line for one store, but then it was one of those situations where a guy came out and said, hey, you guys know they have them at Costco. And then everybody ran into their cars to go to Costco to get a Wii bundle. And with that bundle, they gave me Excite Truck and Twilight Princess, which are just god tier games already to get with the Wii at launch. So that was a really, really good Christmas. Alan, how did you get your Wii?
My Wii actually came a long time after really the craze died down on the Wii. We were lower to middle class family, so we were one generation behind all the time. But I begged them. I think it was when Brawl came out around 2008.
Yep.
I begged them. I was like, I need Brawl. The Wii plays the GameCube. We could just trade in the GameCube. And I remember watching those commercials so many times, the We Would Like to Play ones. And they were the talk of the water cooler in middle school, I'll tell you that.
They really were.
Always wanted it. I had a friend that I would stay the night constantly at just so I could play their Wii, because they had all the games. They had the family that loved them. So they had Mario Kart Wii, they had Super Paper Mario, They had all Twilight Princess. It was just so many good games on that system. I just needed it.
Yeah, so many good games and so many bad games too, but we'll talk about that later. But just the system of shovelware.
Do you guys remember with Wii Sports at first and hearing people like flinging their Wii emotes through TVs and into walls and stuff?
Yeah, I broke my thumb doing that.
Oh, you broke
I played baseball, and the Wii and the CRT TV just slammed against it because I don't know why little me was so close to the screen.
Yep. It was so good, and they had to like recall they didn't recall the controllers, but I don't know if they sent Wii remote jackets, but they also had modified. I know every Wii controller afterward had like modified wrist straps to where like they actually lock into place, and they also had the Wii remote jacket, which that's a cool jacket. I like that jacket a lot.
It's a sick windbreaker, yeah.
What? and Tom, were you able to get one at launch, or did you not get one until later?
I think I got one. I'm trying to think a little bit later, and it was possible that I was working computer support at a warehouse at the time, and it was possible that I think the company might have brought in some Wiis, and I was able to get one that way because it was sold out everywhere. So having an inside scoop on it helped. I do remember visiting Andre around launch, and we played lots of Excite Truck then. That was a great
It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was very exciting.
Nice to see the return of the series.
Yeah. I mean, at first, when I got Excite Truck, my parents did this thing where they gave me the games first as gifts and said, oh, well, whenever we buy the Wii at some point, then you'll have these games with it. The first game was Excite Truck, and I was like, Excite Truck? I was such a little bastard back then. I was so rude. But yeah, that was a really fun game. Like, I just remember playing with it, like driving I remember playing at a GameStop before the Wii even came out, that game, and I just remember having a ton of fun with it, and it felt just so satisfying to control. Never got to play Excite Bots, though, unfortunately.
Oh, you aren't one of 26,000 people then, Joey.
No, I'm not. But let's talk about the software on this console. I remember the game launching with Twilight Princess, which back then I didn't know was a GameCube game also. It actually didn't come out day and date with the GameCube. The GameCube version, I think, came out a month later. So in that sense, it wasn't really taking advantage of the Wii hardware, even though the Wii wasn't that much powerful than a GameCube. But as we've come to see later on, like especially with the Nintendo first-party games, they still took great advantage of that hardware. Twilight Princess was weird because the world was flipped in that game. Because they realized, oh no, most people are right-handed, and what are we gonna do, guys? And then they just said, hey, let's flip the world. And I'm not a game developer, but couldn't they have just flipped Link? I'm not a game developer, like I said, but that's just something that keeps me up at night. Anyway, let's move on. Man, I remember the next big game was Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, and that game, and back then I wasn't that huge of a Metroid fan as I am now, but I knew I wanted to get it because I played Prime 1 and 2, and I'm like, I gotta continue on to the series. Corruption came out, and that game was just so beautiful to me. And I think it was like one of the first visually impressive Wii games that we got. And you know, back then, not everyone had HD TVs, so not everyone was just like, oh, the Wii, that's only 480p. At least people in me and Alan's generation, because everyone really was just playing on CRTs still. There weren't that many HD TVs. So I even had a friend who said Halo 3 looked just as good as Metroid Prime 3. And I'm like, yep, that's really cool. But then we got other great looking games like Mario Galaxies 1 and 2, Donkey Kong Country Returns even looked really great. There was a few third-party games in there too that looked really good also. Even though the system wasn't well known for its graphics, there were some really standout looking visuals on the Wii, even if it was barely more powerful than a GameCube.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think honestly the one that stands out the most to me is Mad World. That one,
right.
It wasn't graphically the greatest, but with the style that they had, the way that the animations really worked with the capabilities of the Wii, just blew me away as a kid. Also, I saw a lot of blood in that game. Oh my goodness, 12-year-old me could not believe it.
And John DiMaggio, I believe, as the voice actor.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he was like one of the radio announcers, wasn't he? Just like narrating the whole thing. That was great. I think
John always delivers.
Yeah, I think Steve Bloom was playing the main character, which is funny because they both played Marcus Phoenix at some point. Steve Bloom was supposed to play Marcus Phoenix, but then they switched to John DiMaggio. But why do we keep talking about Xbox 360 on this Wii discussion? But it's still indicative of the times, you know, because this was the generation with Wii, Xbox 360, and PS3. Very interesting time, I would say. That was when online gaming was really, really taking off, and we really didn't do much of online. It still had the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. You could still play games online like Animal Crossing City Folk. Anyone remember that microphone accessory that you could get with it?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that one, no.
Oh, you don't? It was, okay, so it was literally just like, it wasn't even like a headset. It was like a little microphone, conference call microphone you would place above or next to your TV. And
It kind of reminded me like of the what's it called? Hey You Pikachu one mixed with like the Mario Party 7 one.
Mhm.
I think that's what I think I remember it looking like.
Yeah, it was weird. I never got that one. I never really got. I didn't buy City Folk until later, and I still barely played it. But the Wii was, at least for, I wouldn't even say it was just exclusive to my generation, because back then this was middle to high school. The Wii was kind of, in a sense, a lot like the GameCube, in that a lot of people viewed it as like a children's console or like a family console still, and you know that's what it was. And I remember doing a video on the GameCube and how people thought it was like a childish console back then, that Nintendo really tried marketing towards the Xbox and PS2 crowd, but then when the Wii came out, they just didn't even bother. There were some games they were just like, hey, hardcore gamers, you're really gonna love this game. It's called Mad World, or it's called No More Heroes 1 and 2, or hey, we even have some Call of Duties on this machine. But ultimately, it was just a family-friendly console, whereas 360 and PS3 were all doing the muddy brown graphic games, first-person shooters.
Oh yeah, the brown color generation, where like every single game is a hue of brown.
Yeah, that was such a weird time. Like it was strange, but the Wii certainly came into its own by delivering some really great Nintendo exclusives, I would say. I find it very hard to place like how like the quality of exclusives on the Wii, because when you compare, because Nintendo exclusives, they almost always deliver. But when compared to like GameCube, and when it's compared to like the Nintendo Switch exclusives even, it kind of doesn't really stand out the most, I would say. Wouldn't you agree, Alan?
I feel like they're just their installments rather than installments that really push it to the next level. I mean, we had some really cool franchises come out of it, like Mario Strikers, I believe had a sequel on there. But there was also a GameCube version, if I remember right. Mm-hmm. So it's more or less like it was the sequel console, you know what I mean? Like whatever GameCube game really succeeded, I feel like the Wii kind of just brought another version of that. We got a lot of GameCube games also migrating to the Wii, so we had like Pikmin come back. We had the really good Reflex edition of Modern Warfare 2. It was just a lot of really cool stuff that we either wanted to see but really didn't need to get. But when it comes to the first party ones, it was mostly sequels.
Here's one sequel that wasn't off a GameCube one, but an older one. Next Level Games did Punch-Out on Wii.
Yes.
And it played so similarly to the original one, although you could play it with the balance board, but it was great. Just a great new update with only one new character, but fantastic, possibly racially insensitive.
I was thinking I would play Wii Sports a lot, and I just remember there was this avatar, this Mii, that looked like it was timid and nerdy, and I just remember beating the crap out of it, and that's how I basically dealt with the bullies outside of my school. So I took my frustration out. But yeah, that was a fun time. I never got Wii Sports Resort though, and I know that one was just a lot of fun whenever I played at friend's house. But that brings me to another thing. The Wii introduced the Miis, and the Miis never left us. The Miis have never left us. They've stuck around for every Nintendo generation since, and even on Switch, like even though they're not like that much of a focus in the Switch generation, I know they re-released Miitopia and whatnot, but it's not like the game console's begging you to make a Mii. But they've kind of become just like synonymous with Nintendo, of course, because Nintendo made them. But they definitely gave these games more unique sort of Nintendo charm to them. Even playing as your Miis in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, 3DS, and Ultimate just turned out to be a blast. That they now release Mii Fighter costumes for them. That's just really cool. And you could still play as your Miis in Mario Kart 8, I believe, right? Like, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It's been a while since I played Mario Kart, but yep, the Miis with the Wii, and the Wii Shop Channel was also a thing where you just don't know what you got till it's gone. I miss Virtual Console.
Oh, so good. Yeah. I was playing one recently called Moto Heroes by Red Lynx. People did trials, and just the idea, too, of Wii that it had backwards compatibility and Virtual Console to span every single Nintendo generation that could come out and say that. Like being able to play Mario 3 on it, it was a great blast. Something I missed later on, I would say.
Yeah, we would think like Nintendo would continue Virtual Console, right? And then they just didn't.
I think Nintendo had some pretty good compilation games also on the Wii as well. We had the Mario Anniversary collection that we had.
Right.
That one's a lot of fun. We had the Kirby collection, I believe, if I remember correctly, with the controller. It's a lot of fun. I really like those ones. I remember you still probably can walk into a GameStop right now and Super Smash Bros. Brawl is still going to be $55. But that just shows the staying power of the Wii.
Yeah, nowadays most Wii games, they just cost so much money. I was actually thinking the last Wii game I bought was Red Steel 2, and I still haven't played it.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Man, and they came out with multiple versions of the Wii. They came out with them in multiple colors. Y'all remember the Wii Mini that came out like right at the end of the system's life?
The little tiny red one?
That thing like came and went. I forgot it even existed until someone brought it up like a few weeks ago. It was, yeah, just a really interesting sort of system. Didn't connect to Wi-Fi though, so you can't play Call of Duty Black Ops online with people, unfortunately.
And lost the backwards compatibility with GameCube games, too.
That's
right. A real shame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was also a later version of the Wii released before the Mini, where it was predominantly like you had to put it like face down instead of like on the kickstand. I would always go stand. Like the stand version of the Wii just looks so cool. But this version was literally just designed to be like stood on its side. And I don't know if that had Wi-Fi, but I don't think it had GameCube backwards compatibility. And it's just like, the backwards compatibility of that thing still had me playing GameCube games for like way more years. I didn't even play Wind Waker until I had a Wii. I didn't play Smash Bros. Melee until I had a Wii. That's just how powerful backwards compatibility is.
I didn't even know until I ran a store that like anything past the first generation of Wii, like they just immediately got rid of all the GameCube stuff off. Controllers were taken off, the controller ports were taken off, the memory card slots were gone. It was just a little solid plastic doorstop for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wonder if that was related to PlayStation 3 kind of getting rid of some of the backwards compatibility that had.
That's what I would figure, and that's probably why the Virtual Console later on just got so deep, at least especially on the Wii.
Mm-hmm. You know what boggles my mind though? Like PlayStation 3 had backwards compatibility also at launch.
Yes.
Limited PS2 backwards compatibility, but like full-blown PS1. It's the later version still have full-blown PS1. That system was $600. And in 2006 money, that's a lot of money. Still a lot of money today. But the Wii came out to $250 with the backwards compatibility, with motion controls. At that, granted, I know $250 was a lot more back then than it is now, especially 15 years ago. But that was still like a steal compared to like, I think the 360 was $400, at least the one that was worth getting. They had an arcade model, I think, that was $300, but that had like no storage whatsoever. And then, of course, the PS3 was just no way.
It was the Sega Saturn PS1 thing all over again.
Yep.
Yep. It was like in Canada, I think it was with the exchange rate $800 for the top end PlayStation 3. It's like, no, thank you. But because of that pricing, the Wii kind of became a system where, all right, you choose a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, so you get an Xbox 360, and at the time with the launch, and you could have a Wii to go with it. Like, you would kind of have a Nintendo and one of the other systems if you were going that HD gaming route.
Yeah, and the Wii came with Wii Sports, which is one of the best like pack-in games for a system ever. It probably is the best, and incidentally,
I'd argue it is.
Yeah, and then incidentally, it became like the best-selling game, I guess. But I don't know if they count that because it was a pack-in. But does that mean they sold the system at a loss? I'm not quite sure about the business metrics of things back then. But
I think it just depends on how much the software was to make. Because like one, they could probably print onto a disc, and they had it in the little paper slots. They probably minimizing costs just by doing that. Probably saved a buttload of money by doing that. But the software, it's give or take. It depends on how much it costed to make a really good boxing.
Yeah, and there was just a lot of also like as many great games as there were on the Wii, especially a lot of great RPGs. Xenoblade Chronicles, The Last Story, stuff I didn't bother playing because I wasn't a big fan of RPGs back then. And then even like out of left field games like Epic Mickey. Still haven't finished that game, apparently, but it's like really good. Like who would have thought that?
It's epic.
Yep, it's so epic. Thank you, Warren Spector. But there was also just a bunch of shovelware on the Wii too, because when success comes in the form of the Wii, because a lot of people had a Wii, everyone had a Wii. Let's be real. Every single person. If you're watching this and you didn't have a Wii, BS. You had a Wii. Stop it. They just came with a bunch of shovelware. Like wasn't Chicken Shoot one of them? Carnival games. I remember my parents picking up like some family like fun game night thing, and it was just
a lot of those. Lot of those, Joe.
There would be those like bins at like a Walmart or whatever, like probably big enough for Scrooge McDuck to go in and swim around of like shovelware Wii games.
Oh yeah. A lot of baseball. They really hit it hard with baseball games for shovelware.
Yep, and FIFA was coming out on the Wii. Like, even it came out on the Wii instead of the Wii U at times. So.
I remember that. You had to duct tape the Wii control to your ankle to use them as feet. Oh, it was terrible.
Pele would be proud.
Just Dance did that too. Is that a Wii version?
Oh my gosh. It was just like, hey, they can play this. The Wii U owners can play this on the Wii backwards compatibility. Who cares? Just put it out.
I think we're talking about the system, though, that one of the neat things is that it looked more stylish than a GameCube, really. And it was really small, as Iwata set out for it, where it's like no bigger than 3 DVD cases back to back. So it wouldn't take up a lot of room, and something you'd like to have like in your home with a home entertainment unit, like something less like a toy.
It was super impressive for the size, too. It was maybe one half the size of the Xbox 360. Maybe 15 times less the size of a PS3 base console. Let's be honest.
I even think it was smaller than that, Alan. I'm going to be honest. I don't even think it's half the size. I don't think it's half the size of a 360. I think it was like 4 times, like 25% less. I mean, 75% smaller than a 360. It was just a teeny tiny machine. But I do want to ask, what are some of your highlights from this system? It could be a time spent playing the system, like at a family gathering, or it could be a game. Alan, what's the first thing that you think of?
Brain already immediately goes the launch of Sonic Colors. Oh my goodness, that was the height of the Wii for me right there. I was on cloud 9. I got me the Sonic Colors GameStop exclusive edition that came with the Sonic hat. And I wore that hat to school a couple times. Keep in mind, I'm a junior in high school around this time, I think. Sophomore or junior. But I was like, no, I'm going home. I got this in Raccoon City at my house. I'm playing those.
Oh, Operation Raccoon City?
Yeah, I think those came out around the time.
I'm sorry to hear. Tom, what about you?
Some of my favorite memories were with Wii Play and all the mini games there, but in particular Wii Tanks in the co-op mode. That is like impossible, especially when the tanks are able to ricochet a bullet twice. I'd always try to beat that and would never succeed for many years off and on. That was one of my favorite games.
Is this one inspired Carpoon?
It might have. It looks pretty similar.
Yeah, my favorite memory with the Wii was, getting it on Christmas Day. I just locked myself in my room and played Twilight Princess for all day. It was just amazing. But of course,
that's so awesome.
Yeah, and then we spent New Year's. Took it to my dad's house. We spent New Year's Eve parties with it. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, is that the Wii? I wasn't able to get one of those. Your mom's so cool, Joey." I'm like, "Yeah, she is." So yeah, the Wii was such an interesting system for Nintendo, and it's sort of it was originally called the Revolution, right? Would you say it lived up to that name?
Think so.
Anyone? You think so?
The council approves.
The council,
Yeah.
excellent. I was thinking yes and no, because it took off. The sales were just massive for this system. Everyone has a Wii. Let's be honest, everyone has them. Yes, even you. But it sort of didn't. Nintendo tried to continue the Wii trend with the Wii U, and then the opposite effect happened. The Wii U was, of course, the Wii U was also sort of different in concept, even though it still used a lot of the Wii's features and even the same exact controllers. But then the Switch came, and even though the Switch does have like the motion control Joy-Cons and in sort of like inspired by the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, it's I feel as if Nintendo kind of, I wouldn't say forgot about the Wii, but they didn't really continue the legacy that it left. Feel free to disagree with me. What do any of you guys think of that?
I mean, first off, I think Nintendo succeeded with what they intended to do with the Wii was to disrupt generation of gaming with a completely different spin on the idea of playing video games. I think that succeeded. I remember seeing like them like doing hospital stuff with a Wii, like, oh, this could be used here and all this and fitness and all this stuff. I love that. I love that they thought of exercise in mind for you. I think that's a great idea. But with the Wii U, I completely agree. It completely did the opposite of what the Wii was originally made for, and kind of try to turn it back into a home console. And it completely kind of flopped on itself. And yeah, it kind of stained the legacy a little bit by calling it the Wii U. I think they could have called it anything else but the Wii.
Yeah, to me, it's like it disrupted the industry for a hot second. Then we saw PlayStation 3 with their PlayStation Move controllers, saw Xbox with the Kinect, and then they like dropped that stuff immediately, like almost immediately. Same with Nintendo, where even though motion controls are implemented in their games, it's not like they're the focus now. So I feel like it did make it's like Avatar, the movie Avatar. The top grossing movie of all time, left no cultural impact whatsoever. Not saying that the Wii, I'm not saying the Wii didn't leave any cultural impact at all, because it totally did. We're still talking about it to this day because it's such an iconic system. But I don't think it really like changed the landscape for a while at least. Because now it looks like we're kind of back to square one. It's just like, oh, I just want to sit down with the controller in my hand and play games.
I think it makes you think of what the future is for gaming, because it was like a good exhibition of like, here's what Nintendo could be doing, rather than just making another GameCube sequel. They could be making eventually the 3DS and the Switch, and whatever comes next.
Yeah,
with the Wii, it was a way that I think there was a lot of novelty at first, but then everyone was happy just with Wii Sports or whatever that was new to gaming, and it was great in succeeding, bringing new people to games, and they just the hardcore gaming segment kind of was only there at the end. Like the people who liked it for the novelty probably started collecting dust, and then that generation went on super long, so by the time Wii U came along, all the momentum was kind of lost.
Yeah, that generation did go along. It was 6 years the Wii was on the market, and that last year was just nothing.
It was sad.
There was Skyward Sword, and that was it. Like, there was 2011 Skyward Sword, and then like nothing until the Wii U. So that was definitely a whimper sort of year. This whimper conclusion.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well, I was gonna say with Skyward Sword, like a little sticker on it, like won't be remastered for 10 years.
Can't believe they put that sticker on there, dude. That's crazy.
Let's remember the Wii for when it peaked, guys. Tony Hawk's Ride. Let's remember that. For the ride, it was...
Boom Blocks. I'm gonna remember Boom Blocks.
Steven Spielberg's Bloom Blocks.
Boom Blocks.
That ad is etched in my brain.
I was like, no way Steven Spielberg made a game about BLOX.
Dude, watch the commercial. It's like they say his name like 6 times in the ad.
Oh man, we got no more heroes.
I was gonna say 2 real quick. Yeah, No More Heroes. That's a good point. Rabbits. They were born on the Wii.
The rabbits.
Rayman, Raven Rabbits. It was like a mini game. It's like, what is this? What's happening to Rayman?
Where's my Rayman?
Such good stuff on the Wii. It was 15 years ago, and maybe I'll make a retrospective at the 20-year mark, but we'll see. And I am going to feel even older when that system turns 20. Good lord, 2006 wasn't even that long ago, in my opinion. I'm sorry, it wasn't. But anyway, thank you for joining our discussion on the Wii. Alan, tell us, where can we find you?
Thanks for having me. You could find me on Twitter at JPDogZone, and you could find me on YouTube at ConArtists.
Very cool. And Tom, where can we find you? I'm just kidding. We all know where to find Tom.
In the thumbnails.
Yes, right in the thumbnails. But thank you all so much for watching this 15th anniversary discussion of the Wii. Tell us your favorite Wii moments in the comments below. And until next time, keep your bodies ready.